was the first time that I had to set boundaries I'd never set. And until I got that low, I would not have done it. So my body was saying no when my mind would not and could not. And maybe you're making self-care a priority for the first time in your life.
Welcome to the Inspired Living with Autoimmunity podcast, the podcast for high achievers who want to stay sharp, focused, and full of energy despite their diagnosis. With your host, National Board Certified Functional Medicine Health Coach, Julie Michelson, where Julie helps you take your power back from autoimmunity. And now here's your host, Julie Michelson.
Welcome back to the Inspired Living with Autoimmunity podcast. I'm your host, Julie Houghton, and today we're joined by Tori Jenae. Tori is a trauma-informed confidence and relationship coach with over 15 years of experience and multiple degrees in psychology. She helps women heal from emotional wounds, rebuild self-worth, and create aligned, thriving lives and relationships after breakups, challenges, and personal loss. Her work blends psychology, somatic healing, and spiritual wisdom to guide deep, lasting transformation. Tori's own journey from a difficult childhood to profound personal loss fuels her mission to help others rise stronger and reclaim their power. In today's conversation, we discuss the importance of addressing our emotional and psychological layers along with the physical in order to truly heal. Tori walks us through the emotional patterns that are most common among people with autoimmunity and shares her insights and wisdom regarding how we can begin to change and heal. Tori, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation today.
As am I. I would love to just have you share some of your journey with us because it's actually... I would say 98.5% of guests, their personal journey is what brought them to the healing space. But even whether it's, functional medicine or energy work or, fill in the blank. And so share with listeners so they can get to know you a little bit. And I'm anxious to learn a little bit more about your story as well.
Yes, I love to start with where I am today.
Yes.
So I do have multiple degrees in psychology, from clinical to transpersonal. I have studied Ayurveda, functional medicine, yoga, and meditation for 26 years, energy healing, energy psychology, like EMDR, you name it, I've done it. I've gone down every healing path on the planet, acupuncture, Eastern medicine, Western medicine, because I was actually born to an addict. Both my parents struggled with addiction. So I was actually conceived in a heroin rehab facility. And my dad was already married and in the military. So I was the result of an affair. So he left when I was 6 months old. And being raised by an addict who was married multiple times, she was very beautiful and she did the best she could, but she struggled with drugs and alcohol until about 2 years before she passed. So my childhood was incredibly challenging. I had to take care of everyone and everything from the time I was probably 8 or 9. I had a younger brother that I helped raise. He's 7 years younger. And I made radical decisions to be different. So I've never really drank alcohol. I did a lot of things to be different. I left home at 17. I put myself through university. I've had this I grew up incredibly quickly, but that also created a lot of people pleasing, over functioning, over taking care of, and just an incredible amount of stress that I was under my whole life. And then starting in 2012, my adulthood wasn't any easier. My sister overdosed, my mom died, my grandma died, my dad died. I lost my entire family in the span of a couple of years. And then my long-term husband that I met when I was 22, we've been together for a long time. We ended up getting a divorce. So in a 10-year span of my adulthood life, I lost everything.
Wow.
My job, my health. I ended up being diagnosed with Addison's disease. I already had psoriasis and other, gut issues and all these things. And so it sent me on this massive healing journey of really how to heal mind, body, and soul. And so when I talk about the things I talk about, it's never because I read it in a book. It's because I've walked the fire deeply. And there is no type of grief that cracks your soul open that I've not worked through. And so I've really learned when it comes to healing, it's the internal work we do that helps just as much. And so what I hope to share today are what are those deeper things that we can be doing that we don't always see when it comes to healing the body and the mind.
Amazing. And you're right. You did say, even though I was familiar with her story, I would be like, wow. Um, talk about somebody who is supposed to be here, number one, right? And then doing the work that you're doing. So thank you for sticking with it and using your journey to help others navigate theirs, and truly heal. And I wholeheartedly want to underscore and cheer it's not everybody is like, what should I eat, right? Or I guess for a lot of people, the beginning of the journey is, what medication should I be on, sadly.
Absolutely.
Right? But then as we learn and grow, and any of the other lifestyle changes and approaches are only going to take you so far. They're not going to take you across the finish line if you're not doing the inner work. And it doesn't mean everybody needs to like start with deep work. Like that's not necessarily safe for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah. But all of us, I mean, I think all of us literally on the planet anyway, but definitely all of us with autoimmune stuff.
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen in a vacuum. Genetic predisposition is, it can be a component. But I've yet to meet anybody, people say, we talk about different triggers, right? Toxins and viruses and bacteria and stress and usually it's more than one.
Absolutely.
And always some kind of emotional trauma, whether someone's aware of it or not.
Absolutely. Everybody has trauma.
Yeah.
And I think we've done ourselves such a disservice of having this narrow definition of trauma.
Yeah.
And so I love to explain to people that your trauma may be an emotionally absent parent. It may have been a critical parent. It may have been a parent who worked too much. It may have been someone who
parent.
Yeah, it could be a coach. I've had that happen with a client. Like she had a tennis coach that just really wore her down mentally, emotionally, and physically. And she definitely had a lot of different, health concerns because of that. And so I would love to explain to people that when you do not say no, when your body doesn't feel safe, it will say no for you. Your immune system becomes the mother that you never had, and the boundaries you don't know how to speak.
That was so beautiful. I love that idea of your immune system becoming the mother you never had, or if you had one but you needed a new one.
Yeah, because we think of like that mother that like holds
really protective.
Yes. And so even if you had a mother, like maybe she wasn't there as best she could, or it doesn't, it's not their fault, but it's our responsibility.
Yeah.
But it's like really seeing it as like our immune system's not turning against us. She's really trying to protect us. And so she becomes hyper vigilant in that protection.
So well put. Amazing. So, well, and certainly I think one of the things I really appreciate about how you show up, the work you do is about empowering people. And the whole reason I have this podcast is to empower people, right? Like I think that's been part of my healing journey, is taking my own power back and then realizing we all can. And I think a lot of people hear the word trauma and like think victim mindset or like identity of, you certainly do not show up as a victim or somebody who wears, like big T trauma, like as a crown. Right. And so.
And that's actually a really important point for all of us in healing. Is in a spirituality called Kabbalah. I think they explain it the best, but I've studied the Vedas, like the yogic mindset, and Buddhism when I lived in Japan. So I've really spent 26 years looking at life's biggest questions. But the best way I've heard explained is that the lowest level of consciousness that we have is the victim mindset. That's life is happening to me. And that's normal. We're human. We're going to go through that. We have to have that moment. We have at that moment, why did this happen? Why am I struggling? Why do I feel like crap all the time? Like I remember I was so tired at one point when I had Addison's disease, I couldn't even wash my hair.
Yeah.
And so it's so frustrating. And I don't say this with like any lack of compassion. I have deep
Of
compassion.
course.
But it's like when we get out of that mindset, the next level of our consciousness that we can use to heal is life is happening for me. That
Yes.
means if I really sat with my physical challenges, what were they trying to do for me? Guess what? My Addison's was the first time that I had to set boundaries I've never set. And until
Yeah.
I got that low, I would not have done it.
Right.
So my body was saying no when my mind would not and could not. And so
Yeah.
one thing I really challenge people to sit with is what's the gift? Like maybe you're able to ask your partner for help that you've never asked for before. Maybe you're making your kids make their own lunch when you've never been able to do that before.
Yeah.
Maybe you're making self-care a priority for the first time in your life. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the gifts. That's life is happening for me. This disease, this divorce, this death, whatever it is that came into your life is happening for you to make you better. And the highest level of consciousness is life is happening through me, meaning that everything is showing up is for my highest good, whether it's good, bad, or other. I recognize that I just have to allow that to flow through me and I have to get through it the best that I can and as quickly as I can and learn the lessons. And that's kind of the space that I'm at in my life at this point, but with massive work. So,
I was going to say, well, and you're not done, right? You can't be
No,
like,
I'm never
okay,
done.
I got it, you know.
No, I do not have it.
There's always new levels and new
There's always,
opportunities.
and God does the universe test you when you say, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've got it." It's like, okay, well, Tori, let's see. Do you have it?
Uh-huh.
Let's give you a nice big life test. Just like I worked so hard on my health, and then just recently, like I'll share, I had mold all through my place.
Yeah.
And so I had to do mold remediation. I tested positive for mycotoxin.
Yeah.
And instead of going into that fear mode, which I would have before, like, oh my gosh, it's going to set me back. Who knows what's going to
Right.
happen? I was just like, you know what? I've healed a lot of other things that they told me I never would. They told me I'd be on steroids the rest of my life with Addison's. I'm not. I make my own cortisol now. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to detoxify this. And I really believe like you got to throw everything at it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the perfect example, because you can remediate and you can, support the body with detox. But if you're stuck in stress response, you're not going to
Absolutely.
heal it. So,
And that's like such a big thing that we forget is that the body's either in fight or flight or rest and digest.
right, we don't have
We
like
don't.
a variety of states in
No.
that set for nervous system.
Yeah, and especially when
Yeah,
we grow up in chaotic homes, our nervous system is just set to gas pedal on.
yeah.
And so it's really hard to even recognize. And I never
Well,
recognized it, but
it served you though,
absolutely.
as a child, you
It's the
know.
only way I survived. And so it's
Yeah,
like being grateful for that survival mode
yeah.
and thanking it instead of fighting it.
And then practicing to shift it,
Yes. And
release
lots
it.
of things help.
Yeah, because if not all, definitely most of our patterns that it may serve us to work to change as adults, they didn't come out in a vacuum. They were
No.
there. They served us in some way at some point. And I love that you said that too. Like, you thank that. Like, thank your body, thank the pattern, thank the nasty voice in the head, whatever. What
I would say
I've yet
it was,
to
yeah,
meet
it was
somebody
designed
who's
to keep.
like, I have like a cheerleader voice in my head. Nobody.
No, no. We all have, I call the crazy lady in the attic.
Uh-huh.
Like, and if anyone else said those things to you, you'd be very upset.
And would you ever say them to anybody else?
No. Yeah. No. And
Definitely not.
it's our own, like, I love the thought of it. It's my own inner opponent. And
Yeah.
if I can overcome that voice, I can really overcome anything.
Oh, yes. Yes. I love that. And I think even it may just show up in different ways in different times. I think even for somebody who has textbook, like idyllic, loving, supportive family growing up, like just life on this planet in modern times, if we do not practice getting into a parasympathetic state, like,
Hmm.
that it's just not the way our life is right now doesn't match how our nervous systems were designed.
No.
And so I think,
I
like,
would say we're on a very ancient system,
yeah,
and it's not designed to like watch the news 24/7. It's not designed for a horrible boss or a hypercritical partner, all these things. Like, yeah, even if we had a good base as a child, there's a
right,
lot of things that I've seen affect clients that they just did not even see. Like I said, like I had a tennis coach, a boyfriend in college who was abusive, just these things that really set that nervous system up for safety. And like I said, like we were talking about those strategies that we have that kept us safe, eventually keep us stuck. What kept us safe before becomes the cage that we live in.
uh, so well put. It's true. And again, we don't have to, it's not about blame. It's not about, it's just about creating the awareness and then, working with someone like you, finding the help to shift. But you can't eat cleanly and ignore all the things that got you sick. And yeah, maybe our food system was part of what got you sick.
For sure. Yeah.
But for sure, and is somebody listening and they're not, like, we all, if you're not doing this work on some level, today's a great day to start.
Absolutely. And it's like start small. I always say I always kind of joke there's the ABCs of healing. And the A is just the awareness. Like if I can admit that
Yeah.
that thing happened to me, now I have
Mhm.
awareness. Then I can start looking at like, what are the beliefs I have about myself, about life? Do I believe that I'm safe? Do I believe that I'm lovable? Do I believe that life is for me or against me?
Yeah.
And then I can start saying like that's becoming how my nervous system is programmed because my inside voice is telling my nervous system those things.
Yeah.
If I've got beliefs like I can't trust men, everybody's out to get me,
Yeah.
only my family, blood is thicker than water. All these things we're told money doesn't grow on trees. They create internal stress.
Those are all, take all of those things you just said back. Like, I don't like any of them.
But they're all kind of like running under the
Yeah.
surface and we don't
Yeah.
know them because we don't have that awareness. And so I always like to do like have clients do a belief stump of like, what do I
Ooh.
believe is true about love? What do I believe is true about my body? Like maybe I think that my body is weak. Maybe I think that, and it's like our thoughts. Like there's a book called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, and
I
that's a
was
great book.
so good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
read that years ago, but I still think it's a great like basis of understanding.
Hmm.
And then we can go to the C of healing, which is that cleansing, clearing, um, claiming ourselves
I
again.
like that. Yeah.
Because yeah,
That's huge. And I think a lot of people focus on the cleansing and clearing.
yes, and
And
it's
so,
the most simple. I always say like we want to work from what common knowledge is, which makes sense, right? Like I said, the medication, the food, all great things. But
yeah,
again, if your body is not in rest and digest, it does not matter how clean you're eating, your body's not absorbing it. And I've
right.
been there before. I was taking 30 supplements a day or 30
Yeah.
tablets a day. My body
Yeah.
wasn't absorbing any of it because
Sure.
I was in such a state of dysregulation from stress
Yeah.
that my body couldn't even take in all that goodness.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. But it's kind of like also the, you know, what do I need to take out of my diet to heal? And it's like also,
And I'm
what
actually a
do you
big proponent
need
of the opposite.
to nourish and bring in, and so I love that it to be is the claiming
Yes.
that same, we're so focused on, okay, what do I need to avoid? Again, in that
And that's still saying
fear. Yeah.
absolutely, it's fear and it's saying the world's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, and I went through all that too. Trust me, I was a gluten-free vegan at one point, like it
I'm
was like,
still gluten free, but I have
yeah,
celiac, so I think
yeah, and
it
that's totally
serves me.
different. Yes, absolutely. If you're celiac or if your immune system, again,
Oh,
always honor your body. I always tell people this. Your body
right.
is your guru
Well,
and it will
and
tell you.
what you eat 5 years from now may not be the way you're eating right now. That might not be what your body
No,
needs.
I
And
can eat
so,
gluten again just fine, but I
yeah,
was off of it for 7 years because I
yeah,
had to heal all that inflammation. I had to do a lot of work. Like I said, I
yeah,
was a gluten-free vegan. I won't eat much. So I went to that extreme, like, I got to cut
yeah,
everything out. I've got to be so clean. Like, and that also creates stress. And I've seen that in a lot of my
yes,
clients.
yeah.
So
No,
it's like,
it's true. It's and I do think it is a very typical healing pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And we do stay stuck when we get relief and we're doing something that you can actually feel, oh my gosh, I feel better. And there's that fear of like, don't rock the boat, don't
Totally.
change
Yeah.
it,
I
don't,
always joke that I became a bubble person for a little while.
Oh yeah. And I think we all do. Like I
Yeah.
really do.
Because
And
like I couldn't even go through the laundry detergent aisle at Target because the smell would overwhelm me so much because I was so sensitive to everything. I had that.
yeah, I still hold my breath when I
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
through the
But doing
I
some
don't
nervous
get a
system
migraine anymore.
yes, yeah, I
But
used to get tons of migraine. Yeah, all that. So I've
yeah.
done, yeah, like I always say, I've been through down all of these paths, so I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
But it's like I definitely have done a lot of work to allow myself to feel safe, so
Yeah.
that when I do walk down the laundry detergent aisle, if I need to go grab my seventh generation free and clear, I can make it without,
Right.
without passing out.
Well, I mean, it's so interesting because when I first met my husband, I was not far, I was still in the bubble.
Hmm.
And he used to say, but with true wellness, there's resilience. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm great. I feel so good. And he's like, yeah, but you shouldn't have to be that careful to feel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I used to just in my head, like, well, what does he know?
Exactly. Like he's not been through
he's
this.
a doctor, but
Oh
he's
no.
never been through this, right?
Totally.
And now I'm like, oh, yep.
It's
And
kind of
so
the same
that's
thing.
that
Yeah,
resilience.
my guru said to me the same thing. He said like
Yeah.
we do the inner work, we do the meditation, we do the breath work, all that kind of stuff so that we can go out into life. Because yes, you
Right.
can feel calm and grounded on your
Yeah.
yoga mat or at the ashram. But
Right.
if you can't walk out of that space and hold that calm, you're
Yeah.
actually not integrated. You're not well.
Yeah.
And so that really stuck with me of like, he's like, people will feel great when they're in the healing phase or when they're in the safe space. But our journey is to really bring that safe space with us
To be
everywhere.
part of us
Yeah.
wherever we travel. Yeah. Oh, amen. Well, yeah, here's to getting out of the bubble.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
And
And
it's
we all
okay to visit the bubble.
totally,
It's
the
like
bubble is a healing
definitely
space.
it is.
Yeah, yeah, we're not. I'm definitely not saying it with any judgment.
I'm
That's
not
why I'm
knocking the
totally
bubble.
owning that I was in the bubble for many years, and the
Me too.
bubble got me well. And it's like I'm slowly letting down my bubble a little bit at
Yeah.
a time, and I'm just testing things, and I'm always listening to my body. Like when I started eating gluten again, I was like, okay, like I started eating it in overseas. So in like Europe and
Smart.
Paris,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay. I'm not having inflammation. I really watched and I would stop and see how I felt. And then I'd go back. And so now I can have it. It's not a staple in my diet still. I like, the standard American sad diet. Like none of us are going to be well doing that.
You don't look like you eat the standard
Yeah.
American
But
set diet. Yeah.
I'm, I'm 47 years old. So I take care of myself. I lift weights. I eat well. I've
Yeah.
done the best I can to stay healthy. I do Dr. Mark Hyman's blood work every year, which is pretty amazing. And
Gotcha.
so
The
that
functional
gives you
health.
all, yeah, functional
Yep.
health like that. I do all the things to make sure that I'm hitting the marks. So, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not doing it flippantly, like, oh, let's just throw
Right.
it to the wind and see. It's like I'm testing.
Yeah, well, and just to and then we'll pop the bubble and move on. But it's there. You're intentional and you're constantly checking in, right? Like so, it's not, I'm not telling everybody like just get out of the bubble. Like
Yeah, yeah,
no,
no. Baby steps out of the bubble.
yeah, and really maintain that awareness and. Um,
Yeah,
so
your
well,
body will never lie to you. Your mind will make up all kinds of stuff. It's a creative force, but your body
yeah,
will give you immediate
it's a
feedback.
pretty straight shooter.
It is. We just don't
Yeah,
like to listen to it because it doesn't tell us what we want to hear. At
exactly.
least mine didn't. I'd be like, why can't I
No.
have cupcakes? I'm so bloated.
Well, and I really do believe that's how we end. Like you said, like the body will end up doing what you may not be able to do for yourself, right?
Yes.
And so it may feel like you wake up overnight with a diagnosable autoimmune condition, but I guarantee you,
Yeah.
there were years of whispers that you were not listening to before your body started screaming. So,
Yes,
I love yeah, our minds are creative, but our body's just giving us information.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's always just trying to survive and take care of us.
Yeah.
That's its only goal.
Literally.
Literally.
Literally. So I want to talk a little bit about either like emotional patterns, or I like pulling threads. And I know, again, there are, I call them umbrellas. I know that our emotions definitely are, if not driving, greatly impacting our health. What do
Absolutely.
you see with like autoimmune populations? Are there certain either, emotional patterns,
Oh
character
yeah.
traits, different,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
So I know you know this book, but I'll just mention it. Like Gabor Mate has the
Uh-huh.
When the Body Says No is a great one. And all the study
Uh-huh.
on people with fibromyalgia and their psychological profile is highly correlated. They actually know if you have fibromyalgia if depending on how nice you are. It's one of the things they look for. So
Interesting.
what do I
Yeah.
look for? I look for people pleasing,
Hmm.
over functioning, which means I'm working really hard to make all my relationships work. I look for perfectionism and control because they're actually two the sides of the same coin.
Hmm.
I'm looking for someone who has a lot of comparison, compare and despair. Someone who
Hmm.
really worries about what people think of them because
Hmm.
I know that they're in a chronic state of worrying about other people and not themselves. People who are very selfless and loving, all good things, like all of these things have
Right.
positive attributes.
Right.
What do they do to our health? That means that we're not the primary source of making sure that we're nurtured, that we're cared for. It's that, and women are taught this too. So this is also, we're going against culture as well.
Right.
Like, we revere moms who are self-sacrificing. It's like,
Hmm.
that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like, my mom would do anything. Like you could shoot her and she would still try to feed me. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not a good
Horrible
thing.
modeling.
Yeah, it's like we need, and I even grew up that way. Like,
Yeah.
my own mother wasn't obviously nurturing or didn't have those skills because of her addiction, but I had a grandmother who was. It's like she would give anything, like the shirt off her back, like she would have nothing left to give it to her children. And so that was kind of my only model of love. And I've had to really relearn that because I can still to this day overgive, over love, over take care of, allow someone to. I'm so good at understanding people's wounds and why they do
Yes.
things that I forget that I don't have to accept it.
Right. Yeah. I love
And
that you said that because
yes, it's a
yeah.
lifetime thing.
And here you are like having moved through, I don't even want to say the word like overcome, but you
Yeah,
moved
yeah.
through more than the average bear for sure. And have you're a healer, right? So like really other end of the spectrum. And I think it's so important for listeners to understand that patterns are patterns, and we can shift them and change them and create new patterns, but we're still going to have some defaults that pop up. Like, as you said, the universe is always giving us new opportunities to learn, whether it's
Absolutely.
healing you're just ready to heal at a deeper level. Like, I really
Yes,
believe that
absolutely.
that's the opportunity we get, where life can feel so much better and different. And I feel, so much more healed and, you know, my relationship, all the things, right, are just a whole different level than they were. And at least my experience has been you tend to get to stay there a little while and then you get tested again.
Absolutely. And
And
my dad's part Native American. So like
okay.
in my DNA, I'm like 30%, I think.
Oh
So I've
wow.
done a lot of study in that. And so there's two things that I love to share from that culture. One is that the healers of the group, they knew the shamans and the healers because they had the most challenging lives.
Mm,
So we're meant to transform our wounds into our wisdom. And number two was that we're all on a spiral path, meaning we're going to cross the same, like we're on a spiral path inward to our own healing journey. And so there's a line across that spiral. We're going to go through the same thing multiple times because that's your
mm,
soul's lesson. Like I'm here to learn to heal like my abandonment wounds, my guilt wound, you know, and I have on my website for free like a download of like the 7 psychological wounds that I see the most,
Yeah.
which really hurt us as women, particularly. And I think they do show up in these places with the autoimmune because, like, again, the body's trying to protect us, and so it's like the abandonment, the guilt, the betrayal, the people, like all these have deeper things, and I kind of like the fear of rejection. You know, I really go into them deeper. Like we've been betrayed, we've been rejected, we've been like the not enough wound. That's a human wound that we all have.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel like I'm enough on some level, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough, whatever the world tells us because we're women and it freaking sucks. But I'm now going to go out into the world and try to prove I'm enough. And then I'm going to overdo, I'm going to overgive, I'm going to overbe.
Yeah.
And that's not what the feminine's designed to do. The feminine's designed to receive and create.
Oh, say that again. What?
Yeah. The feminine is not here to just do. Like the feminine is here to receive and create. Like that is what we do biologically. It does not mean for children even. But if you think about just like our biological body is meant to receive and create life, right? We don't have to do anything. Our body just does it for us. And that is true for businesses, for babies, for everything in life. And we forget that. We've just become human doings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Were you ever taught that?
No, oh my gosh.
As a younger, a girl, a younger woman, I wasn't.
No.
I mean, it didn't even occur to me I honestly didn't even understand masculine and feminine.
No, and I don't think we did. I think it's really blurred right now too.
And until like my late 40s when I was like, as far as that, right? Like feminine is here to receive and create, and or my society's kind of illustration of masculinity is so not what masculinity is. True masculinity.
No, I think it's I call it like I don't even like the word toxic. I love to because I think men right now are getting a really bad rap. I love like men are good and they're necessary. I don't have that like negativity towards them. I understand why people do, but like the positive masculine holds. It provides and protects emotionally, physically, mentally. That doesn't just mean money, but I like to say like that means they're holding you up. They're lifting you up. Negative masculinity controls and pushes down.
Yeah.
And they can do that through providing and protecting. And that's why it's such a delicate balance.
Yeah. But see, I feel like what you call negative masculinity to me is not genuine masculinity.
It's not. It's actually, like I said, it's control, it's power, it's the dark side of power.
Yeah.
It's all the things that have held the feminine down. And so that's why we need to look to teach men. I think younger men are starting to get it, but to hold the feminine, which with safety, with love, with care, and provide and protect in a way that does not put down or limit or diminish in any way. And we need to do the same for the masculine. Allow them to be what, the positive side of that. Like allow, even like, I don't know about you, but
there's that
allow
word.
them to
I didn't learn that till my 40s either.
Right. Like allow myself to receive even like the care and stuff, because I'm very much someone who can do it myself. I've been doing it myself since I was born pretty much. So even like with my boyfriend now, I've had to like learn to like, if he wants to do all these little things, like, okay, just be like, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And again, probably not your initial reflex.
No. And I'm very honest about that with him too. And I'll tell him now that I'm older, I know a lot better. I got my first husband, or, my past husband, we're still good friends. Thank God we had an amicable divorce and all that, but it was still hard to like lose that partner in my life. But now I'm so honest. Like I told him within like the guy that I'm with now, like within months of dating of like, look, it's hard for me to receive. Here's all my traumas.
Right.
This is who I really am. Like, this is, these are the kinds of things that I need. And I want to know what you need. And I want to know what's happened to you. And so I've had these, we think like, especially for women, relationships can be so draining for us because we can be trying to figure it out all the time for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Instead of just communicating. Obviously, to set it up though, it has to be the right partner.
For sure. They have to be willing to
And
do that with you. And if they're
so
not, that's a red
if
flag.
they're not the right
Yeah, they're
partner,
not.
and it's not worth, this is not a first date conversation,
No, no,
you
no. This is
know?
like, okay, I'm interested in you. You're worthy. Yeah, I always say that.
Yeah.
Like we as
Here's a
women, we
little
need to be
about
the
me,
yes. And
Um,
those, and you do
oh,
start slow. What's fascinating in dating and relationships, though, is they found it when people are more vulnerable earlier on, you actually can weed out if someone's right for you or not more quickly.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I just recently said to my husband, like you are this is the only relationship I think that I have from day one. Like he's just always known me as me. I never tried to, because I definitely, that list you just gave of those traits, I have almost all
Oh
of
yeah, me
them.
too. Yeah.
Right? It's
Oh,
just
and
which ones
codependency,
are
I forgot.
prominent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The like I don't think anybody on the planet has genuinely I didn't know myself
Yes, and
either,
that's the
to be
key.
fair.
Yeah, self-knowledge is the most important knowledge.
Yeah, and so to show up into what we call a later in life relationship, and have something, just a genuine friendship that grew into, now sharing every aspect of life together. Um, it's kind of sad. I mean, it's beautiful. It doesn't feel sad to me that like, wow, I never thought I would get that.
Yeah,
And it took a lot of work to become the person who was ready for it. But also like that's really common, I think, for especially women to, I know grown women that like jump up and put makeup on before their significant other wakes up in
absolutely.
the morning. And it's like, why? What? I don't,
Yeah. I always try to explain too that like if you're not your authentic self, you'll never actually feel loved because there
right,
will always be a part of you that knows that you're performing
right.
to receive care and love. And when most of us are taught that. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
a good girl or you're not loved if you don't get good grades. And my mom, like, gosh, I was always revered for how I looked. Or that was her. My mom was very much about that. Like my brother's actually the pretty one. He has different dads, so he literally looks like Chris Hemsworth. Like he's 6'3". He's got like kind of my features, but he's got like light hair and bright eyes, and
Yeah, well, you're
he's
stunning.
oh,
So, but I get family dynamics aren't,
yeah. So, but like that was the only thing she ever said, even though I did really well in
Yeah.
school. It was always like my beautiful children.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like I got taught, like, well, you're only valuable for your looks.
Yep.
And so it's
Yeah.
like those things that we don't even think about, they affect us. Like I have
Oh,
so
they're
many
so
clients
powerful.
who, yeah, like who their mother was, had problems with her own weight. So she was critical of their weight. And so now their
Yeah.
weight becomes a way in which they measure their worthiness.
Yeah.
And just like those little things that we just don't think about how they get put into our mind. But I always remind people that like if you grew up in America and you're, Western, as a child, people told you that a fat guy named Santa Claus was going to come down your chimney and leave you gifts, and you believed him. Or you believed whoever told you that. And you were like, oh my God, I've got to go to bed. Or the Easter Bunny, or whatever your culture said. You believed some weird fable. And
Right.
it's no different. Your mind was so open as a child that when your mom criticized herself or talked about someone else's weight
Yep.
or if you didn't get good enough grades, like all that got like kind of, planted in the garden of your mind, and now you need to weed it out.
I love that. Yeah. And my daughter's great at, she'll call me out. Like if I say something negative toward myself, she's like, oh, that's
Hmm.
really great modeling for me, I'm like, fine, I'll pay
Oh
for your next
goodness.
therapy session.
Oh my goodness.
Which is, it's wonderful
Yeah,
because
yeah, but children are your teachers too.
she doesn't have, I mean, it's not that she doesn't have stuff again, she's on this planet, like, and
Yep,
in
if
this
you're
country,
here.
she does.
Yep, totally.
But I love that in her 20s, she is so aware that, the impact of others on her. And as she's working to change her patterns,
Yeah, it's
it's just
beautiful.
this, it is beautiful. It's really a fun thing. So
Well,
do
that
you,
speaks a lot though to your healing as well, because this is one thing that like also comes from Native American culture, but I truly believe it. When we heal, we heal 7 generations before us and 7 generations after us. And I've seen this so many times in my clients where they start their healing journey, they start unpacking those wounds and they start seeing it heal in their, like they'll have better relationships with their mothers, they'll have better relationships with their children because we're changing how we relate. We're unpacking all of that stuff and we are shifting it for everyone. So I would say healing's not just for you, it's for your whole family.
absolutely. It's the, and it's so oversimplifies when you were talking about, the giver, the mother as the giver and the,
Mm-hmm.
for you, your grandmother, the shirt off her back and, right, probably skin off her body if someone needed
Totally.
it, right?
Absolutely. A kidney.
And it's often my way in with clients of the, especially clients with daughters, children in general, but if they have of, your daughter's learning from watching you, is this what you want for her?
Absolutely.
It's kind of cheating, but it is a
But
really good
it's a
way to
motivator.
shift the perspective of, especially if they still have this, they're still working on the I'm not worthy story anyway.
Yes, and most
It's
of us
like,
do not know that's what we're working on.
right.
That's the
Yeah. And
hardest one to see.
that was the question I was going to ask is, do we need to identify all of these things to
I
begin healing?
I always say like start with what's coming up for you. We don't need to go find it all. I have a ton of trauma in my lifetime. I don't need to go looking for all those dead bodies.
Right.
I believe that your mind and your life and your body will present what needs to be healed in that moment. And so if I'm struggling with something specific in this moment, it might be like, am I loving enough for something because I'm overgiving in a relationship and my body is telling me I am, or my mind is telling me I am? That's where you start. And I feel like everybody has a different entry point into healing.
Too. Yeah.
So some of us need to start in the mind, some of us need to start in the body. So
Hmm.
some of us might be struggling more with anxiety and depression, even though we're having some body issues. It feels heavier there. So start with your own unique journey. So that might mean that for you, therapy, talking to someone, meditation, breath work, nervous system regulation for the mind is actually better. And that will help the body. They're deeply interconnected. Or other people, your body, maybe having IBS where you can't stop going to the bathroom. That's where you start. That's okay. Then
Right.
next you start pairing it with the mind stuff. But yeah, I do think that the human condition is we all have been told or believe that we are not enough on some level, and it's hard to see it. And it wears lots of different hats. But I think we're all growing that to believe that even if I have confidence or worthiness, I always need to grow that. Because I love to explain to my clients too, like that confidence, that worthiness, you might have it great in one area and it might be lacking in another. Like a big way I can see is like I'll see women who are very successful at work, but they're really struggling in their personal relationships
Mhm.
and they don't have the same confidence there. And so they feel confused because they're like, I can walk into a boardroom and I can demand anything. But then I come home and I overfunction and I do the dishes and I take care of the kids and I do all day long. And it's like, yeah, but that isn't translating. So that's where your self-worth and your self-love and all that stuff just needs to grow. It doesn't mean it's not there. It means there's more work to do in that area. And sometimes it's the opposite. They're great at home and they have great boundaries and they have a great relationship, but they have a hard time speaking up to their boss. They don't say anything in a meeting. They're afraid they're stupid or that they won't be taken seriously. So it all looks different for us, but we have to really be honest about what's showing up for me right now. Where am I struggling? And what is life trying to reflect back to me that needs to get
Mm.
stronger and better so I can feel stronger and better?
Because it's a spiral, so it will keep
Oh
giving
yeah,
us
and
that
it'll keep
opportunity.
coming back. If we don't get it the first time, it'll
I
come
think
back again.
for women who have dated a lot, you hear the like, I keep dating literally the same guy. And it's like,
In a
well,
different
yep.
body. Yeah. And really like that comes back to a core wound of whatever your parents, there's some amalgamation of
Yeah.
There's a great book called Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. And that one is imago therapy. And it's really figuring out what were the core wounds that your parents created or your primary caregivers or someone early in life that you're actually trying to work out in your, like, I used to love emotionally unavailable because that's what I grew up with. Like, that felt like love. Like my parents weren't
You knew how
there.
to navigate that.
Totally. Like someone tried to get too close to me. I'd be like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
why are you so interested? So yeah, Mr. Emotionally Unavailable was the sexiest guy on the planet to me because
Uh-huh.
that was exactly what I grew up with.
That's not all younger women.
No, I mean it shows up in so many different ways.
Interesting.
It's so
Yeah.
fascinating. It's like, even someone who had a dad who worked all the time might end up with a
Sure.
guy who's very unavailable. And
Yeah.
it won't even look like unavailable. It will just look like, oh, he's busy, but like you'll feel alone. You'll
Yeah.
feel unattended to. You'll feel disconnected and it will feel familiar. And sometimes, and I always warn my clients too, the more butterflies you have and the more excitement at first, the bigger the red flag. It's actually your nervous
Oh,
system
interesting.
saying, this is very familiar. I'm very excited about this. The
Yeah.
one you feel calm about is actually the right guy.
Interesting. See, and I tell my husband all the time he was so sneaky because I had no because we worked together first and then became friends and then from
Yeah.
there.
You
And
build something
so,
real.
yeah, interesting.
But if I'm on date one, date two, and I'm like imagining that this is the guy I'm going to marry, and I'm so excited, and I'm just obsessed with him, and I'm thinking about him all the time, he's triggering a wound in me.
Ah, see? Oh, mic drop. We're gonna now jump to our final question of the
Okay.
interview, which listeners know is coming, which is what is, and it can be anything related literally to anything that whatever comes up,
Okay.
one step that they can take starting today to either on their healing journey. I'll just leave it that way.
Yeah, I would say, I think because everyone is struggling with something physical here,
Mm-hmm.
sit down and say, what is this trying to teach me about myself? What have I learned so far? What do I think it's still trying to teach me? See if you can come up with like 5 to 7 positive things that it's given you or it's trying to teach you to see if you can start to shift your mindset around it. Because what we resist in our lives persists,
Yeah.
particularly psychologically. And if
And
I
where
keep
energy, and when where attention goes, energy flows.
flows,
So, yeah.
absolutely. And so when I'm in that space of, I just want this thing to go away, I wish it would stop. I can't be in pain anymore. I get it. I've been there, but it also blocks the flow of healing. And so I've
Ah,
got to be able to see what's happening to me differently to shift my relationship with it so that my disease or my disorder or my sickness does not become my identity, does not become my path, does not become something that I can't work with and through.
amazing. Such a gift. For people that are listening on the go and aren't going to check the show notes or click the links,
Yeah,
I am one of those people.
absolutely.
Where is the best place for people to find you?
So Instagram is easy to contact me. It's at Tori, Tori dot J or period Jenae. And you can DM me there. And I've got links for freebies. And then also my website, torijenae.com. So ToriJenae.com. And both of those are simple. And again, you could find my freebies, especially like we talked a little bit about the 7 psychological wounds and like kind of how to build confidence in yourself. And that confidence is directly correlated to that self-worth, that self-love, feeling good about yourself. And that is a very important thing on your healing journey. And that's it's like 16, 17 pages long. So it will be a true gift and they're
And let
completely
people,
free.
yeah, dig in and
Mm-hmm.
get to know you even better, which I'm sure tons of listeners are going to check it out. Highly, highly encourage. Tori, I really appreciate the light that you bring and the work that you're doing, and really grateful for you sharing your time with us.
Oh, I'm so grateful I got to be on the show. I'm so excited. I love what you do and just how you're helping women.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Thanks.
For everyone listening, remember you can actually get those show notes and transcripts by visiting inspiredliving.show. I hope you had a great time and enjoyed this episode as much as I did, go get those resources and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Julie Michelson's Inspired Living with Autoimmunity. Did you enjoy this episode? Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to get a transcript of this and every other episode, just head on over to inspiredliving.show or click on the link in this episode's description. There, you can also find everything we discussed in this episode, including links and information about our guest. You can even send in your questions to be answered by Julie in a future episode. That's inspiredliving.show. Until next time, this is Julie Michelson's Inspired Living with Autoimmunity podcast, helping you take your power back.